is going on, guys? So today we are back with another Pokemon Masters video, but today we're actually going to be starting a new series, and if you're familiar with the channel and what I do with Pokemon Go, then this will kind of be pretty much similar. So this is basically going to be a series where I take an in-depth look at specific trainers and their Pokemon and try to kind of pick through some of the things that they have in their toolkit and try to find like why they're so good, or possibly like how they could be paired with other trainers to be even better. For the very first trainer that we're going to look at, I figured it would be very appropriate to take a look at not only a free-to-play trainer, but a trainer that everyone basically says is the best tank in the game. And of course, as you saw from the thumbnail, this is going to be Rosa with Snivy, Servine, and Serperior. So we're basically going to focus mainly on Serperior. We are going to talk about Snivy and we are going to talk about Servine as well, but we're basically just going to kind of brush over how to basically get to Serperior, because that's where it's going to work out the best for you anyways. Really fast, let's actually go into our Pokedex here, and we're just going to go down into Rosa, and we'll take a look here. As you can see with Snivy here, kind of already not that bad actually. So if we take a look at our base stats here, HP of 512, an attack of 74, defense 162, special attack of 96, a special defense of 183, and a speed of 148. I mean, already that's actually pretty decent. As you can see, it is heavily weighted in the defense and the special defense area, and that kind of like alludes to what the main role of Rosa and her Pokemon is going to be, which is basically what everybody uses it for anyways. So taking a look at Snivy all the way up to Servine, we actually retain the exact same moveset. So we always will have Energy Ball, X Special Attack, all Time to Energize, Giga Drain, and our passive actually stays the same as well with Stalwart, and we'll kind of go over like how that kind of affects the toolkit as well. So from Snivy into Servine, the very first time that you're available to evolve is at level 30. Coincidentally, that actually works out pretty well, because that means that before you actually hit your first level cap, you're actually able to evolve into Servine here. So just for instance, we won't go through each of the base stats, but I will tell you from Snivy into Servine, just in HP, we have a 4.5% increase. That is rounded. All these numbers are going to be rounded. In attack, we have a 2.7% increase. In regular defense, we have a 2.47% increase. In special attack, we have a 3.13% increase. In special defense, though, this is the big one. From Snivy into Servine, 11.48% increase in special defense alone. So that is the biggest increase just by evolving Snivy into Servine that we get there. Speed is actually going to be a 2.7%, and as an overall stat sum, just summing up all of our stats from Snivy versus Servine, we actually have a 4.85% increase, which is actually not that bad. I mean, what is it going to cost you? 1,000 coins to buy the evolution materials to get from basic stage to stage 1. So, I mean, 1,000 coins gets you, across all your stats, a 4.85% increase. That's actually not that bad. So like I said, with our moves here, we're all the same. All the way up into our passive is actually going to stay the same. We didn't talk about our sync move with Snivy. The reason is because we do have the same sync move on Snivy as we do with Servine, but Servine into Serperior, it actually changes. So whether you have Snivy or whether you have Servine, you're actually going to have Grass Sync Beam, which actually brings a really good spot to talk about this. So it is a special attack move, which does mean that we're going to be utilizing with Servine, we're going to be utilizing that whopping 99 base stat in special attack. And we're going to do at level 5. So that's not, not exactly what everybody's going to start out with. What we're actually going to start out with is something a little bit less. So at maximum level, at level 5 out of 5, our base power is going to be 240, which is not the highest sync move out there, but that's pretty respectable. And it only targets one opponent, so okay, that's decent. And no additional effect, which is kind of I mean, it's okay, but it's just not really like amazing. I wish it did a little bit more, but I mean, for the power, unfortunately the sync move isn't like super important here because the power associated with not only the base power of our move, but with our special attack is kind of underwhelming. But I mean, as we've kind of alluded to, our role here with Rosa is not necessarily to be a attacker, we are a tank. So we are literally utilizing the support role as best as we possibly can, and usually I shy away from using Grass Sync Beam, and even Serperior, I don't use the sync move on Serperior either. But for what it's worth, I mean, you do have it if for whatever reason your other Pokemon get fainted from an AoE attack and you're stuck with Serperior or Servine or anything like that. You do have it as a backup, so I guess that's okay. So now, working all the way up into Serperior here. So into Serperior, for our base stats here, we do have an 11.21% increase in HP. That is by far the highest increase from Stage 2 into Stage 3 with Serperior there. So that's a really huge stat. We actually gain a ton of HP just by going from Stage 1 to Stage 2. We actually have an increase of 3.95% in attack. We have an increase of 3.61% in defense. And then special attack is a 5.05%. Special defense is a 9.8. That's our second highest increase from Servine into Serperior. And then lastly, for our speed, we have a 3.95% increase, averaging with a stat total tallied up for all of those. We do have an 8.12% increase just from Servine into Serperior. Now, if we take a look at the big picture here, so all the way back from the basic Pokemon Snivy all the way into Serperior, total for HP we gain 16.21%, for attack is a 6.76%, for defense it's a 6.17%, for special attack it's an 8.33%, for special defense, by far the best one, 22.4% increase, which is huge, huge. Then for speed we do have a 6.76, and then stat sums comparing Snivy to Serperior is a whopping 13.36% increase in our stat sum. So just for spending a few thousand coins getting the materials and spending a little bit of time grinding out some levels, Serperior is a huge, huge monster there. That's actually really, really crazy how insanely good it can be. So now, let's actually talk a little bit about the entire line here. So of course we are a support role, like we've talked about a little bit. We only do have one weakness, and that one weakness is actually a flying type weakness. So I went and I looked which Pokemon actually have flying type attacks. Well, I drilled down a little bit further than that, and I actually just looked at which flying attacks are actually available. There's only 6. Which is actually a pretty good deal for us. So we actually have a lot of trouble up against the Pokemon that are able to use Aerial Ace, Air Slash, Beak Blast, Gust, Hurricane, and Peck. And out of those, so Aerial Ace is actually used on Skyla and Swanna. So that's a pretty big tank, and that's actually one of the tanks that I would actually recommend Serperior actually pair with, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Gust is actually also used by Skyla and Swanna as well there. So of course if you see the Swanna on the opposing team, for whatever reason, if you see just a Swanna that's going to be attacking you, you kind of have to be wary of that. Air Slash is actually going to be able to be used by Will and Xatu and Winona and Pelipper, so kind of have to be wary of that. Hurricane is also going to be on Pelipper, and then we actually move into Beak Blast and Peck, which are both on Kahili and Toucannon there. So there's not too much of a weakness here, which I actually found kind of interesting. I mean, yes, we are going to be weak to flying type attacks. That's perfectly acceptable, but the amount of attacks that are out there is nothing. Like really, that's only 6 moves. That's actually not that bad. It's certainly not the least represented types when it comes to attacks, but it definitely isn't that bad. And when we're looking at the stages that we have to grind up against, there's not too many of those Pokemon that we end up seeing. We don't see Toucannon super often. There is a super course with Toucannon, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember seeing Pelipper too often, and I don't remember seeing Xatu. I know that he has a super course as well, but I mean, in general, that's not bad. So now let's actually go over our moves here, and starting off with one of the moves that we actually have as soon as we obtain Rosa is actually going to be Energy Ball. So a grass type move costing 2 move gauge, which isn't too bad. It is going to be a special attack with 58 base power, which for a 2 move gauge move, that's not actually that bad. 100 on the accuracy, and it only is going to affect 1 opponent. So you are going to do damage to 1 opponent, and it does have a very small chance of lowering the target's special defense, which is actually pretty nice. The other move that we actually have as soon as we have unlocked Rosa here is X Special Attack All. So it is a trainer move, is kind of how I classify it. Status move, if you want to say that, or other, I think is how Game Press does it. So it's going to be a status type move, trainer move, whatever you want to call it. No power, no accuracy. It does target all allies though, and it does sharply raise the special attack of all allied sync pairs. So that actually has a really huge implication on one of the roles that not only are we a tank, but what kind of tank are we? We are definitely a special attacking tank. And not in the sense that we're going to be outputting tons of damage as that tank, but we're going to be supplementing the damage of other special attackers. So that right there is huge. It does have 2 uses. So if you want to start off the battle just immediately sharply raising special attack twice, that actually works out really great, like 9 times out of 10. Now, one of the 2 moves that you can actually unlock, which does cost a little bit. For this first one, it's not too bad. For the second one, it is the more expensive move. It does take quite a few more items. Time to Energize, though, the easier of the 2 to unlock. It is also going to be another trainer move. It does have 2 uses, which isn't bad. But basically, it's going to target all allies, which I guess if you want to phrase it that way, but I don't really see it that way. It increases the move gauge of all allied sync pairs by 3. So the wording is a little weird because it doesn't necessarily increase it by 3, it replenishes the entire move gauge. That's how I've seen it in practice. I mean, you guys have seen it. I use it literally every time that I use Rosa, and I'll try to include some footage here, and I'll try to, call that out whenever we use it. But I mean, that in itself, being able to get back move gauge is so freaking helpful. That is like the top tier, in my opinion, of just abilities right now. That's amazing. The last attack that we actually have to unlock, which is the more costly attack, is Giga Drain. So not only does it cost a lot to unlock, it is a 3-bar move, which is kind of expensive. It does do 109 base power, grass type move, special attack of course, with an accuracy of 100, which isn't bad. It does target 1 opponent, and it does have the attack of Absorb, so it can actually be filtered or searched, or however they're going to incorporate that. But it does restore the user's HP based on the amount of damage dealt to the opponent. So how I have seen this work is that it has a floor around whatever amount of damage you do. So like I saw the other day, I did 147 damage with this move, and I only healed 14 damage. So I basically heal 10%, but it's a floored 10%. So that 10% would be 14.7 of 147, but it floors it, so it's only 14 for me. It rounds it down to the nearest whole number. So it's 10% in some fashion. I don't know if that's the exact formula or how exactly it works, but that's just what I've personally seen. Then we move on to our sync move here. So like I said, from Servine into Serperior, we do get a new sync move, which is Shoot for the Stars Leaf Storm. So a grass attack, of course, special attack here, 300 base power, which is way better. Remember, this is at level 5, so if you have level 1, it's a little different, but a level 5, 300 is pretty insane. Here again, though, it only targets 1 opponent, and it has no additional effect. So kind of underwhelming on that side, but at least it does do quite a bit of damage. And as far as our passives go, we do have Stalwart here, which is special defense cannot be lowered. Which is actually pretty freaking sweet if you think about it, because if this thing is gonna tank most of the damage for us, its special defense is what makes it so freaking tanky. So not being able to lower that special defense is gonna help out Servine quite a bit. So now let's actually move on to how Rosa kind of fits into a team. And this one isn't going to be too complicated because in general, you can basically fit Rosa into tons of different teams. She really does have a lot of different utilities that makes her excel in a lot of different teams. Like I said earlier though, she does really excel whenever she's boosting a special attacker. So this is one of the teams that I have actually been grinding with lately. Karen and Hal are both going to be utilizing major special attack stats. Rosa is actually going to be able to increase those special attacks. So she really does get the full mileage out of her trainer move and out of time to energize by being able to boost the other sync pairs, and then on top of that refilling that move gauge as you're basically just eating up the move gauge with these other two sync pairs. So let's actually go in and we'll actually do like a quick little super course with her here. So let's actually stay away from the one with Will. It just happens that we've been talking about how Will is going to be super effective. So right here, we're actually going to see that Rosa is going to be super effective in this one, but we're not actually going to be using Rosa to attack very much. We're just going to be utilizing Hal and Karen. So if we get into this, we're immediately going to start off with boosting our special attack with Rosa. That's going to be our first objective here. So first thing we're going to do, special attack all. We're just going to do some X special attacks there. We're actually going to do dire hit there. And then as we boost this special attack and this dire hit, we're going to start attacking with Hal here. We're going to do discharge first and foremost. And we're going to do Snarl just for the AoE effect. And as you can see, we're already down on our move gauge here. By the time I'm ready to do another discharge, I can go ahead and do time to energize. And you can see we have 5 available for her to boost. And we already won. Okay, so that was a little fast. But that's kind of the main shtick that Rosa has. Once you jump into the battle and you start boosting up the special attack of your allied sync pairs, things really start to book it. I mean, they really do start to move really fast. So let's actually jump up to this middle tier one here, and maybe this one will last a little bit longer and we can kind of show off the time to energize a little bit better here. So same exact stance that we're going to go with here is boosting up special attack. Very first thing, we're going to start off with X special attack all. And then we're going to go and we're going to do X special attack on Hal and dire hit there. And then we're just going to run through those one more time, boosting those. And then as soon as we're ready to fire discharge, we're going to do that. Then we're going to hit a Snarl here. And as you can see, by the time we get ready to use this time to energize, I'll go ahead and queue it up. But I'm going to use discharge here so that it completely empties the move gauge. And as you can see, it boosts it all the way to full. It's not like it just boosts it and, you know, only by 3 like it says. It does replenish it completely, which is insanely crazy. So we are going to use our special attack with Karen here to get into Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom is going to be so much of a more effective attacker than trying to utilize Shoot for the Stars Leaf Storm. I think that's what it was called. I can't even remember. So that's kind of like the way that we want to utilize Rosa. Have her as the tank. Being that she has one of the highest bulk stats in the game, the AI is most likely always going to target her. Unless there's, for some reason, a tie on the team, there may be something weird that the AI does. I haven't encountered anything like that. Rosa is definitely going to be the highest in terms of special defense and HP and regular defense, and when you hunk all that together to get a bulk, she's going to be the highest bulk, which makes her the only target that the AI really goes for. And then once you're protected by that, you can kind of just go all out with your other sync pairs. With Hal and Karen in my situation, can just run free and just do whatever they want to do. They are insanely powerful, and Rosa really puts them up on the pedestal to really excel either way. So that is actually a little insight into Rosa. If you guys have any tips for the other players that by chance watch the video, definitely drop them down in the comments below. Rosa is extremely powerful, and I mean, considering that she's free to play, you get her like, what is it, chapter 1? 2? I think it's chapter 1. It's insane like how freaking good she is right off the bat, and you're just given Rosa, like literally just here, have one of the best units in the game. So that is actually going to be it for today, guys. If you have an idea on which trainer you would like to cover next, please drop it in a comment down below. Unfortunately, I don't have all the trainers unlocked, so it's not like I can just, you know, hit any one that you guys want. I will cover it whether I can, you know, show gameplay or not, but I try to show gameplay so that you guys can get an idea of what it looks like in action. Otherwise, you know, we're just gonna jump straight into our daily discount summon here. I actually haven't played in a few days, so we are due for a daily discount here. Still, I'm just on the hunt for Noland. That's what I really want at this point. I love Noland and any other 5 stars besides Karen and Olivia at this point. I don't want dupes. I mean, I know that it's going to increase the sync pair or the sync move, but I just, come on. Give me anything new, just not a dupe. So, regular old 3-star? Nope, that's a 4-star. We got the increased antenna. Maybe it's Nolan. Please let it be Nolan. Can it? Oh, it's Will! It's Satu! That is actually awesome. That's perfect. I love the sync pair. I've been waiting to actually get into this sync pair. And it's kind of funny that we've talked a little bit about Will at the beginning of this video when we're talking about weakness, but as you can see right there, that's basically what he's all about. I love it. I love it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start working on increasing that level there. So anyways, that is actually going to be it for today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. As always, like I said, there's a Discord down below in the description if you want to join that. The link to the spreadsheet where I've basically gotten all of my information from today is also linked down in the description as well. If you're into Pokemon Masters, I highly encourage you to join the Discord and we'll get to talking in there. But that is actually going to be it. Thank you guys for watching, but I'll go ahead and play those ending credits for you right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember that if you like to like videos, you could do that, but if you don't, you could be that guy. Otherwise, let me know what you have to say down in the comments below about the video. I do highly appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to support me in any way, there are several links down in the description for Patreon, joining the community here on YouTube, or even just directly PayPal if that's your thing. I greatly appreciate everyone's name that's on screen, as you guys have showed some sort of support outside of just viewing the videos, and I thank you guys. You don't understand from the bottom of my heart. So until our next video, guys, I will catch you then.